you try to raise your kids right. You try to, encourage their development. But we're having some language issues. So there's still a few words that she's struggling with. It's that like that baby like accent when they're trying
Yes.
to figure out how to say the word. So the following words are presenting some issues. Okay.
Yep.
Fork, ship, clap, deck. And she'll say these things over and over in public,
Yeah.
singing them in a song. Ship, chip, 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 chip. Like, just like
Give
for,
me my
I don't
fork. I
know.
want my fork. Let's fork all
Yeah, what the
day.
fork?
Yeah. How is she with the word cocksucker?
Megadads Live is a mature-rated podcast. It's for the Megadads, the Mega Moms, but not the Mega Kids. So put on those earmuffs and let's go!
Yeah, getting there. So it's like, so when she says these things and she says it kind of wrong and it's quite obvious, like, fuck, I'm just like, I don't say anything, and I'm wondering if I should like correct, the diction or whatever. Like, I don't know. What's your take on this?
We definitely handled this poorly in our family because we would just giggle. I mean, I think that was our responses. We just giggle, and sometimes we would point, and sometimes we'd be like, "She said fuck." So everybody goes through this, right? And you just try to like move the conversation on. But I would like some receipts. I would like you to video your daughter reading through that list. You can tell her it's an educational thing, so that you can play it back and learn from it. But I will expect you to text me that video later today. Okay?
It's cute. Yeah.
My son. Speaking of being super smart, he's got this thing where like his brain is always processing things outside of what's happening now. I think he gets it from me. Like, you're in a situation, you're at work, you're having a conversation with somebody, you're watching a movie, whatever, but your brain is somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
He's having that and he's expressing it. And so we were watching TV the other night, and I'm pretty sure we were watching The Bachelor. Not important. And he says to me, he's sitting on the couch next to me, and he's like, "Dad, you think if time travelers were real and they could control where they went in time, do you think they'd like just keep going on vacation over and over and then go back and go on vacation again and again? And then when they went back in time, they'd get like a lottery ticket that they knew they were gonna have the winning number, and then they'd get super rich, and then they'd use that money to keep going on vacation over and over again?" And like, I'm sitting there. First of all, I'm impressed because he's telling me the story of Back to the Future 2 in some way. But I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? And it's fascinating to kind of like lose yourself in your kid's mind. Do you ever like walk up when you hear your kid playing in the other room? Do you ever just like sneak up and just sit outside the room and listen to the conversations they're having their toys have back and forth? My daughter was playing Barbies last night, and like, I got home from work and she was in her room all by herself, and I can hear her, and she's having her Barbies talk to each other. And first of all, totally sassy. Her Barbies have attitude. But I sneak up in the hallway and I'm sitting right outside the door, and she's like, "Yeah, if you don't watch it, you're going to have to go into the hospital for like 100,000 years. And then the other Barbie is like, "Nuh-uh, like, I don't have to do anything that you say." And I'm just, first of all, I'm like, my God, this kid is going to be an absolute nightmare when she's a teenager, right? And she's having these conversations with real people.
There's drama with the toys already.
But the drama with the toys, I highly recommend this to any parent. If you have a kid, try to catch them playing without you. Because oftentimes, like, my kids would play in the living room, right, where we are. And so they kind of like, they edit their play, because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to hear you say what they're really thinking. But if you can catch your kid playing in another room and they're vocalizing what their toys are saying. There is almost nothing as entertaining as that. So good.
There's a potential that TikTok's going to get banned in the US, and I've been on TikTok a lot more lately because it's kind of like, oh, they might take it away, so let me soak it up. And I was just doing like scrolling and got random feeds and stuff. There's a TikToker who does like plays with Barbie dolls, and all they do is create these like insane storylines. So they'll do like the voices and like scenarios and stuff, and just playing with the Barbies, and that's the whole thing.
Are they doing
the whole channel is just.
Are they doing it in like an ironic, funny way, or like do they have like issues, and like it makes you concerned to watch?
To me, it seems like they're like channeling their like messed up past into the dolls and kind of playing it out. And like this one doll was like, it was like this broken family, and like the husband was cheating on the wife with the daughter's friend from school, and then like she got pregnant, and then the guy was like, oh, like my girlfriend has to come live with us because her parents kicked her out. And she's like, I'm not keeping that skank in this house, how dare you even ask? Like, and that it was just insane, like what was going on. So
should we be doing this on our Megadads TikTok and YouTube?
And do like the little characters.
I have an absolute shit ton of like giant posable action figures and statues. We could put on a whole soap opera. This could be days of our lives with the cast of Final Fantasy VII.
Therapy.
Are we missing an opportunity here?
I think so.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the headlines. We got so much to talk about today. We're going to talk about some news stories. You have 2 games that I'm really excited to hear about. This is going to be a great episode. So first, let's go right into the headlines. My headline story is a little bit on the sad side, but I thought it was worth bringing up. Acclaimed manga and video game designer and artist Akira Toriyama recently passed away at the age of 68. I saw this, and everybody sees Akira Toriyama as like the creator of Dragon Ball, because I think that's like his most iconic and famous franchise. But for me, Akira Toriyama was the character designer for Chrono Trigger, for the Dragon Quest series. Chrono Trigger is one of the most prolific RPGs of all time, right? So for a guy like me who grew up in the Super Nintendo era playing these games, like that's what I know him for, is from my video game experiences. Dragon Quest is a renowned video game series that I don't have a lot of rich history, but I loved Dragon Quest 8. Dragon Quest 11 was a little bit of a daunting game, but boy, he injected such great character and design into his creations, and he had that super like relatable style. Like you always could tell, just like first glance, if it was an Akira Toriyama drawing or character. Such a distinct style, such a fun, cheerful. Blue Dragon for the Xbox 360 was a fantastic game. He did the design work for that, and he's got an upcoming video game that comes out really soon, in a matter of weeks, Sandland, which is like an open world car combat RPG. I think it looks really cool. And I just found out that Sandland is going to be coming to Hulu as an anime series, like on March 20th. So by the time you are watching or listening to this episode, Sandland is on Hulu. Such a great designer, such a great artist, and such a great example of somebody who made the absolute best out of his life and work. I love seeing people who are known for creating such amazing things. I think in the video game industry right now, we have a few people like Hideo Kojima that we look to as like a industry creator, like a face of creation, but we don't have that so much in like Final Fantasy anymore and things like that. You don't really think about the designers. Akira Toriyama put his name and his face and his creativity into everything that he did, and it was always so recognizable. So it's a big loss. Sad.
Iconic, like I haven't been able to experience a lot of the games that he had like a hand in inspiring, except for Dragon Quest. But like the character, the emotions, the uniqueness, like there was something light about some of the
joyous
work, right? Joyous is a great way of describing it. Like there's like every enemy character in the recent Dragon Quest game like just looks so like bubbly, and it was just it's great. You know, I think you won't find many people who are fans of anime that are gonna discount like Dragon Ball,
Right.
and like it's just incredible. It's a touchstone of that genre, and it's incredible. Like to make that type of impact on the world must be you know, great, and
Right.
and it's a legacy. I will be known for the smells that I make after eating cheese,
Yeah.
and that's about it. That's my legacy.
Long after you're dead, somebody will smell a
long
fart
after.
and they'll be like, "Is he here?" Man, that
There's
reminds me
hints.
of Dad.
There's hints of his greatness in the air at the moment,
And stained
That's
into
it.
the walls. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how people tribute him. Like I would imagine the Dragon Quest series is going to continue, but like his visual style, that's what makes those games to me. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're well into production on the next game. I would imagine they'll have quite a heartfelt tribute to him. I'm really excited for this Hulu series and to play Sandland. I think Sandland looks super cool.
Sandland
and
looks cool.
unique
Yeah.
and just really fun. And I'm gonna miss living and playing in his worlds for sure. What's your headline story?
The PS5 Pro has been rumored, right? It's like, when are they going to do a new SKU, a new iteration? A lot of people are disappointed with the current hardware overall for not pushing, just on average. It's like, you know, this gen could be better. It could have pushed the envelope more. But we have credible information leaked, quote unquote, that PS5 Pro is coming. So here's a bit about what we know. It's probably coming as soon as holiday of this year, 2024. And we have a couple hot points, like rendering 45% faster than PS5, 2 to 3 times better ray tracing performance, and sometimes 4 times better. 33.5 teraflops. You know how teraflops are like how we're supposed to be measuring how great something
Got to
is.
get them flops.
As far as video game, the flops, it's all that's important. This was the most interesting part to me. PSSR, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution Upscaling.
What is that?
So this is where, and I've said this on other shows, hardware in the future, in order to push the boundaries of what's possible from just like the internal hardware, can do what it can do. But when you start using these solutions that do AI generated frames, when you are able to have upscaling, different technologies that to the eye make it appear like that's, you know, what's happening, it makes games run smoother. You're experiencing more frames. There's all these things that happen with the new GPUs that they put in PCs, you know, from AMD and NVIDIA, FSR, and I forget what the other one's called, but all these new technologies, right? So the future of video game consoles had to be them taking advantage of these new technologies in some way. They already do. When you may have heard about like 4K upscaling and things like that, you know, checkerboarding was like one of the things that they used early on. So different techniques to make things look better. So it's interesting that this comes out in the leak about the actual name for what they're going to be calling their technology. So PSSR, interesting. So an upscaling anti-aliasing solution. Support for resolutions up to 8K is planned for a future SKU. So I don't know if that means that it's not ready in this SKU at all. Like it won't touch it. But it looks like we're gonna get there
Yeah.
eventually. I don't see yet another PS5 Pro, so I don't know what they mean by that.
Right. That's
And then we have custom machine learning architecture, a lot of buzzwords, AI accelerator, supporting 300 teraflops of 8-bit compression, blah, 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 67 teraflops of 16-bit floating point, etc., etc. So it's just a bunch of like word salad to say it's going to be more powerful. You know, you don't know anything until you see the games that are going to take advantage of it. And that seems to be the pushback. It's like, what right now do we have that really needs this type of power? Like, Cyberpunk was a game that really pushed the limits of what it's demanding of hardware. And it's like, okay, well, we have ray tracing now. It's like, okay, great, this is possible, but it performs better if you have the actual hardware. So the game is saying this is possible, but we need the hardware to make it fully realized. You need everything to line up. Your monitor, your hardware, the game, it all has to be on the same wavelength for you to experience something like 4K 120. It doesn't matter if your monitor can't support that many frames, you know, if the game supports it but your hardware can't do it, everything needs to line up. So things are gonna get better in the future, better fidelity, but I think it remains to be seen games that are utilizing it fully. To me, a good engine like the RE engine, what that did, making games with those bones and the way that they have their lighting solutions and all of that, that makes the biggest difference to me. So what you can actually do going forward in the future with the PS5 Pro, what is it going to look like? You know, like what, you know, we got Unreal Engine 5 coming and more games being released using that. Is this going to pair well with that? I don't know. You know, you have to really know hardware in and out to know what's coming when you see things like this. What are your thoughts, Adam? You know, run out and get one? I know you are. You have to.
I mean,
you're a PlayStation fan.
I am a PlayStation fan.
You'll pay any price.
Well, that's what I want to bring up is I think PlayStation needs to be very careful. Right now, more than ever, prices of everything are going up. People are as well as the economy is doing in a grand sense, you know, like unemployment's down and stock market's in blah, 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 blah. Prices are going up on everything. So I think there was a time and a place to introduce a premium console as a alternative to a pre-existing console, but I don't know if now is the time for this, because this is going to be a premium thing. This is going to be a premium thing. And I think, I don't know about you, but I have yet, it's 2024, it's March 2024. I have yet to walk into a store and see a PS5 ever. Ever. I don't know what it's like in Chicago, but in Minnesota, I've never seen it. So
I don't think I have either.
It's already like damn near impossible to get a base PS5, and they're introducing the Slim. The Slim's coming out. So there's already like choices, right? And you're going to put another premium product on top of that when it's already impossible to find the same thing. With people and price crunches, people are saving, people are trying to, I don't know. I don't see this. I don't see this as necessary. And I think in the same vein, whereas like the game industry, I think the game industry is on a bubble right now. There's so much money being poured into these games. And we've talked about it time and time again, that nothing has a time to breathe. No game lasts more than like a 30-day cycle, right? So I think spending more and asking people to spend more might not be the right play right now. I think Nintendo is going to fucking clean up. If they come out with a Switch 2 that's at a really good price, and they've already said that, you know, this thing is going to come out a little bit later than we expected because they're going to make sure that supply is there. I think that is going to come out and fucking kill. And to me, the only reason that PlayStation would have a Pro coming out this holiday would be to try to get in front of that juggernaut. But
that's actually a really good point.
But I don't know that that's a successful strategy. Do I personally want to bigger, faster, shinier PlayStation 5? Sure, absolutely. But am I going to spend a
take it.
premium?
Yeah.
No, I'm probably not. I just got done knocking down my PlayStation Plus subscription from the premium tier because I wasn't getting enough return on it. And I'm trying to save money. And I'm the guy that they should be marketing a PS5 Pro at, right? And I'm saying, slow the shit down. This generation is going just fine. Focus on the software. Get the games out there. That'll sell your hardware, not new hardware. New hardware isn't going to sell your hardware. Games are going to sell your hardware. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. I would want one. I'd love one, but I'm not really a fan of this strategy.
It's an interesting time. I always love new hardware, like pushing the envelope, in my mind, always a good thing. It depends on where you are. Like, do you already have one? Were you always in the market for one? Are you going to say, okay, well, now I'll get the base instead of the Pro and be fine with that? Maybe there'll be a price drop. Probably not. Like, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. But you bring up that really great point about trying to get it in front of the Switch too.
That's the only reason I can think of them dropping that this holiday. I don't know why else you would do it other than you're going to try to beat the Switch 2 to market. You're
really trying to release hardware with a gem or a flagship title, and PlayStation really doesn't have anything on the horizon for that, pun intended. So I think that it may or may not be the time. We don't know. These leaks, they come, you don't know. It could all be BS. I don't know.
What do you think the game would be? Let's say it is coming this holiday. What would be the game?
Oh, you see, this is something that has come up quite a bit. If you remember Xbox being bashed for having the same tentpole titles over and over, and yeah, they're good, but they keep going back to the well of Gears of War and Forza and Halo, and it's just like the same. And people were like, it's been a while. And I think we got the same thing. They've milked Spider-Man to death. They have The Last of Us remasters like over and over, and God of War got great DLC, but it's like, is it time to let it breathe? Like Horizon, like what would come out? I have no idea.
It's got to be something that we don't know about.
They got to go back to the well. It's got to be an Infamous, or they won't do Infamous because Sony they're already busy with Spider-Man.
Maybe it's that long rumored secret Uncharted 5 project that people have been saying is underground forever. Right. That would be one to do.
That would be it. That would be it.
I don't know.
What happened to the Order 1886 and what was the other one that was good? The one with the aliens where you're shooting.
Oh, Resistance?
And it was like a Resistance. Come on, man. Let's go all the way back. Where's Warhawk? What's happening?
Warhawk.
Where's the good stuff?
Oh man, they could make a
Where's the good
Warhawk
stuff
in VR, couldn't they? Holy shit. All right. Well, let's move on from the speculation and let's talk about the games that you've been playing. One of which is surprisingly like the biggest hit of the year so far. Let's talk about Helldivers. Helldivers 2 is an online shooter game available on PlayStation and PC. A sequel to a franchise I honestly didn't even know existed, but boy did this game come out of nowhere and everyone is talking about it. You jumped on board. You had that FOMO like you always do. You had to get in on the conversation. Tell me, what the heck is Helldivers 2?
My buddy Matthew Keel got me interested in Helldivers because he was such a big fan of the first game. So Arrowhead Game Studios made Helldivers 1, which was like a top-down shooter, and Helldivers 2, when I had heard it was coming, I was like, all right, now's my time. Let me go ahead and jump in. So I actually was in before it blew up for once, but the FOMO definitely got me playing more, and it's just an excellent game all around. Since people have probably heard a lot about it, I won't get into the simple stuff, but long story short is it's a You could play single player if you'd like, but it's primarily a co-op experience where you play as a super soldier fighting for democracy in the name of Super Earth against 2 invading forces. So you go to different planets and you fight the bugs, the Terminids, and then you fight the robots, the automatons, and you are tasked with different missions, like go and kill their nests, go and launch these missiles from different sites. So you drop down from your starship and you go down in these little pods in the most epic intro sequence imaginable, and you boom pop down onto the planet and you're just in the ship right away and just fighting and shooting and calling down ordnance from the sky and lasers and missiles. And the whole name of the game is that it's a very unforgiving game. You have a very low health bar and you are able to die from everything from friendly fire to you calling down ordnance on yourself accidentally. And then, of course, the bugs and all these robots that have no chill, just lasers everywhere. You feel like you're in a war zone, and the music's going and it's all like dramatic, and to have you like feel like a soldier and you're like throwing grenades and just trying to survive. It's a beautiful game because it's so finely tuned. You are in these missions and you have one of like, I think it's 9 difficulty levels, and you could turn up the intensity of like the number of enemies and how accurate they are and what you're asked to do. And you have harder objectives. And then there always seems to be a magical, like just enough of an intensity where you make it out alive. And at the end of the mission, you call down a drop ship and it's like, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And then it comes down and you like jump on and like escape. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they play tested the hell out of this game. So it makes you feel like you are barely surviving. I don't know if it's like they kept testing like, okay, now how aggressive are these enemies, and will they let you turn your back on them and spit acid and have it just be just out of reach, so if you run you will dodge the bullets and you will dodge the acid. Like, it's so finely tuned that it just somehow feels like you're on the edge of death at any time. So when you come down to these planets and you're doing your objectives with your team, you have a certain number of lives shared between all of you. So I think it's 20 or 15. This is the standard, where you come down and then every time someone dies, again, from any reason, you have a life ticker that goes down. It's like, oh, we have 15 and now all of a sudden someone dropped a grenade on themselves and we have 14. And then you have to call via like your little ordinance. You call in what they call a stratagem, and you hit like up, down, left, right, and on the D-pad, and you input a code, and that's like, okay, now all of a sudden you have this grenade and you throw it, and now your teammate will be respawned and come down from the ship in the sky, and they will fall down to the earth again or to the planet, and they'll respawn, and you keep doing that. So if things are going wrong, your teammates are dying left and right, you might be the only one left in a 4-person squad, so you're like, let me respawn somebody really quick and input this as I'm running from bugs, and then you throw the grenade and you try to like put it in a good spot so when your teammate comes down he has a good vantage point and he can start to cover you, and it's just chaos all the time. Now, you're not a multiplayer person. You like single player games. You like the story. You really don't, it's not your bag. Do you have any desire to play Helldivers based on all this great word of mouth from me and others?
I'm not gonna lie, like PlayStation promoted this quite a bit. They showed this off several times, and I'd watch and I'd be like, well, that looks fun, that looks cool. But I think so much of the joy of a game like this is not only the, like you said, the squad playing with your friends, but it's like those viral moments. I've seen so many clips of streamers playing this game. It seems like the perfect stream game. Like a lot of just like comedy of skinny your teeth kind of, oh my God, I can't believe I pulled that off kind of stuff. This game, I would absolutely play this on like a PlayStation Plus free kind of thing. I don't know that I would spend the money just because I don't have the time to set up time to play with people. My game time is so like I got a half an hour now. I'm going to try to get something in. So I can't schedule my game time. I would love to experience something like this. It doesn't fit into my life. But I was talking about Final Fantasy on Threads, and somebody made the comment of like, my God, man, you should be playing Helldivers too if you want to talk about Game of the Year. And I'm like, I recognize that is like the game of the moment. I totally do. And I bet it's fucking awesome. Hearing you talk about it sounds incredible. It's just, I recognize it's not a game that fits into my life right now. So this is a game that I will be appreciating from the outside, but it sure damn looks cool.
It's got a whole lot of elements that if you like a shooter and that's what you're into, is like, let me just throw down some bombs. Let me unlock a laser that's just gonna like zap, and electrocute like enemies in front of me, and have it be very satisfying and visceral and have that chaos around me. If that's your thing, then this is for you, and for Final Fantasy fans, I mean, get out of here. If you're a fan of that game and you played the original, then you just have to see this fully realized amazing take on the remake of it. So different games for different people.
Is this arcadey, or is this like I think there's like different kinds of shooters, right? Like I feel like there's some shooters where it's like super technical and you're leveling up your characters. And then there's like arcadey shooters where it's just pop it in and play and then walk away.
It's such a beautiful mix. I would say the original Helldivers was kind of like a twin stick shooter almost, right? Where you're moving your legs around and you're like have a top down view. And it was all about shooting without shooting your teammates that are also in this little space around you. And the friendly fire aspect and the like killing each other and stuff was a big part of it. So that same thing is here, except you're in a third person over the shoulder. You could also use the aim down sights on guns if you choose to, but overall it's very much more arcadey. It's not like you don't have to be necessarily nailing headshots on everything. It helps at higher difficulties if you're able to shoot a bug right when it's about to spit something at you because it has a weak spot in its mouth. There are enemies where you absolutely have to break off armor in order to start to damage it, and there's little tricks to that. It's like, if you hit them in the leg twice with this type of weapon, they go down much faster. And there is some skill in using the more advanced weapons. There's like a grenade, a stratagem that you throw and it calls down like a laser, and some of them will just follow the enemies and wipe them out. Some will just drop a bomb right where you asked it to, and it's on a delay of 3 seconds, so you kind of have to like put it in front of you a little bit so you know that the bug's gonna walk into it in 3 seconds, and you do a little like mental gymnastics and say, if I bounce this off here, I can jump off the cliff, land safely, but also throw this grenade on the landing I was on, and the bug will be there right when it needs to shoot the ordnance right into its belly. And you can do stuff like that. So, but overall, it's very arcadey. I got an achievement for unlocking the machine gun and just unloading the entire clip. It was just so fun to hold down the button. It was like, da, 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 and the clip's so long, and I'm just like killing all these bugs, and they're just like destroyed, and it's like achievement, like emptying a full clip for like, like you would really never really have to do that, but they knew some people would because it was so fun. And I just like it's very much arcadey. You jump in, you can jump out. One of the best aspects of it is even if you don't have a group, it has a very surprisingly healthy community where they've built this lore where it's like, it's us versus the bugs and the robots. Like, we're all going to be in this galactic war together. Let's do this. And like, they have emotes where you're like hugging and high-fiving, and like, it's a camaraderie among your fellow soldiers. And when you start the game, you can say, okay, get me into a quick play where somebody has dropped an SOS beacon saying, you drop a thing saying, come, someone please come help me. And you can join that game, and you go in, and sometimes you'll be playing and you drop that and somebody does come in, and then you just start fighting the bugs together. And you don't get a lot of griefers where they come in and just kill you and just say, oh yeah, I'm going to mess up your game. I'm going to kill us and get our life pulled down to 0 and leave. Like, surprisingly, it's just like, let's do this together. And you see like, you'll see like your squad of 4 just like in a line, like holding each other's backs and like trying to like shoot some bug as they're like reloading, because you know that you need to back them up in that moment. And this is happening constantly. I forget where this quote comes from, but they say that a good co-op game is one where you it's better if you play together, and then the quote is something like, but an amazing co-op game is where you want to play together. Yeah. Something like that. So it's just like very fine-tuned and a very great co-op experience. And it is mindless violence is the core of it. And the thing about the dying quickly and dying to everything and it being friendly fire, surprisingly, when I went in, that's not my cup of tea. I was like, I just don't want to be dying so easily all the time. And even though you have a limited health pool, it just more adds tension to the moment to moment. Like there's some weight to the life that you have. So taking care of yourself and trying to keep your health up and stuff is a motivation where it's not frustrating that you die so easily. Yeah. It's funny if you die. The health pool does, like, if you wait like a certain number of minutes and you had 14, it'll give you another health pool like back. So at the end of a mission, if you had 0, you can wait that extra minute for it to refill and then call in your buddy so you could jump on the extract with you and you could have a full squad go out together. It's a great game. I recommend it if you're a fan of shooters. If you are a single player person, there is a pretty healthy community where you can jump in and find people to play with very quickly with the matchmaking. So highly recommended Helldivers 2. I'm so glad that I picked it up. It's a discount title at $40. So,
is that right?
Yes. So try to get in there if you can.
Yeah,
support. It's a good game.
Now you're okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's
decent. You and your son would love it.
This is definitely like the talk of the moment. Like everybody is talking about Helldivers 2.
Helldivers is hot.
Well, not to stand up and show up Helldivers 2, but you got one more game here that is also the talk of possible game of the year contender for 2024. Came out of nowhere, gigantic community surrounding it, AAA experience through and through. We're talking about Bluey. Bluey the video game. Game about a dog. Game about a blue dog. Antonio's playing it. Said, Adam, I wish I wasn't playing it. And I said, You're bringing this game to the show. I want to hear about the magnificence of Bluey the video game.
We are huge Bluey fans in this house. There are children's shows that are really great when they're like fun for everyone, right? So you have parents entertained just as much as the kids. And if you're not familiar with Bluey, you can find it on Disney Plus. There is a family of dogs. You have Bluey, the dog, the sister Bingo. The mom's name, I think, is Chili, but they call her Mom. And then the dad, Dingo. I forget what his name is. It doesn't matter. But
Australian dogs, right?
It's set in Australia. Yeah, it's a family that the whole premise of the show is it's showing parents kind of how to play with your kids and seeing it in a whole new light that you may have originally. Its big message is that like parents can have fun playing with kids just as much as the kids are having fun. And being limited time, limited patience, it's important to find ways as a parent to kind of make parenting fun in the day-to-day, because it can be kind of frustrating. The shows have very good life lessons, show you different games you can play with your imagination with kids. It's silly. It's if you ever seen an episode of the show, they will kind of highlight, okay, here's how to get kids to eat their vegetables, here's how to get them to like play nicely and stuff.
How to get them to stop
the
saying
message,
fork.
yeah, it's a great show. It's beautiful. The life lessons learned, the very interesting take on parenting is great. Have you seen Bluey the show, or your kids were too old?
No, this is a show that I've heard about for quite a while. And actually, while we were in Seattle, my kids found it on the hotel TV, and we watched several episodes back to back. And I get what everybody is so into in this show. It's cute, and it's relatable, and it's like feel good, right? Like everybody likes a good feel good show.
Yes, yeah. These parents are fun parents through and through, and they're trying to, do the best that they can for their kids, and keep them entertained is basically it. There's always something about the kids just are never satisfied, right? So it's like in this episode, this is the imaginary game that we've come up with, and they have all these different ideas that you can try. And I've used lessons from Bluey in my own parenting, like totally. Like I've gained so much from the show.
It's why you feed your daughter dog food, right?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of kibble, never hurt anybody. So Bluey the video game comes from Outright Games, who are the self-proclaimed, they're the leading publisher of family-friendly interactive entertainment. They have all of these good kids, family-focused games. The games should have been in great hands with Outright Games because they know what they're doing when it comes to kids games. And the premise of this game was surprisingly disappointing. So I'll start with the good. They use the license to great effect. You have the fully realized world that you only see in frames in the TV show, and the 2D is now an open sandbox. So you have the house that they live in, and now instead of just watching it, you can move from their bedroom to the kitchen to the living room, go up and down the stairs and see every nook and cranny of this space that you've only got a glance at in the show. And that alone is like super entertaining. Did you ever play Simpsons Hit and Run by any chance?
Yeah.
So you have the Simpsons world, and then they eventually like create a game or there's other Simpsons games where you're in the house and you can move about the house. And it's like, oh yeah, that is where the bedroom is in relation to the bathroom.
Right.
And this is the layout that they've kind of set up. And there's something magical about that. And they fully realize different areas that are seen in the show, like the house, the park, and just different things that you've seen. And it's amazing. You have the original voice cast doing their bits and, speaking with full inflection. Like, I think if it wasn't for that and the licensing being so strong, I wouldn't have been entertained with the game like nearly as much. So the kids are doing the kid thing, the parents are doing the parent thing, and it's just like, it's great to see. It felt like kind of watching an episode at times, except for the fact that nothing interesting is happening whatsoever.
Oh no.
The whole thing about Bluey is like, let's say there's an episode that is like, okay, we use magic, and it's like, here's magic and what magic can do, and if I put my hand out, it'll like make you dance or like move you to the side and make you clean, and the kids are doing it to the parents are doing it to the kids, and you have this whole episode about like how you can use your imagination to do like fake magic. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And then you have like kids imagining that they are old ladies on the bus, and the dad is the bus driver, and they're giving them a hard time, like, slow down, like, take me to the library, and like just fun games you could play with your kids. These are all things that are interwoven in the episodes, but now you have a video game and you ask yourself, well, what do I do? What are the buttons that I am pressing? Like, what is the mechanics? The mechanics of this game is walking around exploring the area. So I'm like, okay, like this game is so simple, the controls, that my now 4-year-old can like move the character. You go up and down the steps. Great. Touch the A button to, pick up the toy or the collectible. Okay, we got that far. Sounds good. Now hold A or X and then move the chair out of the way so you can get the thing on the shelf. Okay, so you do that. That is 80% of the gameplay. Is
kind of moving around and interacting with the world more than an actual game.
Jumping, hopping. Like, okay, let's play Floor is Lava. This is one of the like main like little things you're doing. So you're in the playground and you're tasked with jumping from one platform to another. A little too difficult for my 4-year-old. Asked for help halfway through. Okay, get to the end. Great, we did it. The whole thing about the game, the major story element, is you do whatever they're asking you to do and you collect a piece of the map and then you put the map together. There's only 3 pieces of the map. There's only like 5 main areas to the game: the house, the playground, whatever. So you're doing what you're going to do. So one of the main games is Keepy Uppy. You know what Keepy Uppy is, right?
Keepy Uppy?
Keepy Uppy is when you blow up a balloon and you hit it in the air and you try to keep it up.
Yep.
This is a game as old as balloons, as old as time. I played this before I saw Bluey the show, when most of us did as kids, and it's just fun to keep a balloon in the air. They do this in the show, and it's in the game. So you move your character around and hit A, hit it to where you think the balloon's coming, and you can kind of see it coming. Hit A again. The AI characters, the mom will hit it, then okay, now you hit it, and you're just playing in the little living room, keeping the ball up. That is a major component of the game. It's like one of the crux things you can do is hit A under the balloon to keep it up. There's nothing interesting happening from a gameplay perspective at all. If you remember there's a Rugrats game that came out, I believe, on PlayStation back in the day, and they had the Rugrats world. Again, same thing. It was all about a cartoon about kids using their imagination. They added mini games in there, and you'd play like a mini golf, and it was a great mechanical mini golf, and we played it over and over again as kids because it was a great entertaining mini game within this licensed, we have these licensed characters, and just having them do something that's actually fun. So they could have added just mini golf to this for no reason if they wanted to.
It just seems kind of like a missed opportunity for a property that has so much interest from parents. I mean, that's kind of like one of the main things I hear about this game is like parents love it just as much as the kids, but it seems like the game is 1000% geared just to the kids as opposed to creating a balanced experience that you can enjoy together. That's unfortunate.
Yes. The other half of the game is collectibles, which is just going around the areas that you unlock as the little mini campaign, unlocks new areas, and just finding things and checking them off the list. So filling out your little sticker book and saying, oh, I found the doll or whatever, and that's it. There were hints in some of the cutscenes of like the quirkiness and the fun and the jokes of the show, and kind of like the dad saying something funny. And it's just like, it's sprinkled in, but there is nothing mechanically good about this game, and that's a shame. So it's, like you said, a wasted opportunity. There's nothing to really go back to the well and say, let's replay this. Just off the top of my head, if you use magic, and maybe you could use some telekinesis like magic in the game, and you say, okay, kid, if you hit the right trigger, then the thing will move, and you could like move the dad and slide him around. Something that is related to what you would find in the show, or like if at any time you hit this and everyone will dance because they are big dancers in the show. That's an idea, right? Maybe that, but it just seems so basic. It's like they made half a game and forgot to like put in any fun mechanical thing to do throughout. So
basic Bluey.
If you're a fan of Bluey, if you're a fan of Bluey and your kid likes Bluey and they're young enough, I would say like no older than like 3 or 4, 5 maybe. Like they're gonna lose interest after a while. It's a discounted experience. I think $40. It came out in November, but it's available on Game Pass now.
Well, that's at least something.
Great.
You can play it for free.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
free.
For the Game Pass subscription. So yeah, Bluey, I give it a pass because it's for kids, but it really could be quite a bit more entertaining if you maybe thought through some more robust gameplay elements.
Make it an actual game. Well, that's a bummer, but you know what's not a bummer is the caboose. We are about to give you a recommendation of something outside of the world of video games that we think you might enjoy. My caboose is going to be something non-specific, but I think that it's fun for everybody to try, and that is to find a restaurant or a food that you like that is outside of the main chains that you may be frequenting. We last weekend we went to a burger place that we'd never been to. It's not a big chain. There's a few of them around here in the Twin Cities area, and we had a great time. They had really good food at a really good price, and it was just a burger joint. We went and had some California burgers and some malts, and this place is called My Burger. I'm pretty sure it's local just to the Twin Cities, Minnesota area, so not necessarily a recommendation specifically for people around the world, but it's really fun when you're looking for some place to eat. Maybe you're taking the kids out. Think outside the box. You don't have to go and try something radically different. Like we knew we were going to a burger joint, but we didn't go to Burger King. We didn't go to McDonald's. We didn't go to, whatever. We found something different, unique, and it was great. And now it's like, well, anytime we're in this area again, we might try this place because it's really good. You can have fun in like safe adventures, right? Simple as going out to lunch somewhere new. So I recommend that. Find yourself a unique burger joint or a taco joint, anything like that. You might find yourself a favorite.
Yep. If you're adventurous, find a nice 2-star place and just roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
You know what I mean? I went down a TikTok rabbit hole. I'm a fan of the platform and the app, mostly because of how random the content is on there. You have people doing all sorts of weird stuff. And I was going down the rabbit hole and found the world of modern beatbox. So beatboxing, making, sounds and beats with your mouth and your throat, and it's just a whole world. They have competitions and stuff like that. I need you right now, listener, to look up Jairo, 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 beatbox. And if you look it up on YouTube or TikTok, you'll go ahead and see this one artist, this one beatbox person, and amazing things that they're doing musically in that space. There's another one called Big Man. There's a different groups and things that are doing really entertaining, fun, beatbox stuff, and it's worth a listen. So Jairo, Jairo, or Big Man, or just look up like best beatboxing videos and have some fun and listen to some people do some pretty amazing beatboxing stuff. I went down the rabbit hole. It kept me entertained for a good hour last night.
I like watching people do unique stuff with their mouth. That's going to do it for this episode of Mega Dads Live. Thank you so much for listening or watching right here on youtube.com/Megadads. Make sure you join our Mega Dads Discord. You can support everything we do here for only $1 a month by going to patreon.com/Megadads. You can find us on Threads. You can find us on TikTok. And you can find us about to go eat lunch. Thanks for recording with me today, Antonio.
It was a pleasure. I love it.
We'll see you guys next Friday. Have a good one. Bye.